Introductions. How do you write an introduction? That's a great question. What do you need to have in an introduction in order to make it clear for your reader exactly what you're writing about? Well, the things that you need to include are any sort of contextual information that they might need to have, right? What is it specifically that they need to know in order to understand what you're talking about? Now, that's just the general scope of the introduction. Ultimately, you're trying to get them interested in what you have to say. So that means that you have to start off by getting them interested right away. That first sentence of your intro makes a huge impact. And that first sentence is called a hook. Now, when it comes to talking about something that is like a real life example, you use something that people can relate to, right? You use something that they can easily grasp, understand, maybe that they're shocked by, that they're upset by, and bring that to the forefront right away. So that way they see it and they go, I need to read this. It's important. Now, when it comes to literary analysis, you still want to do the same thing, right? You want it to be something that shocks them, scares them, or just piques their interest more generally. So how do you do that? Well, you look at the scope of the story and you say, what is it that this story is trying to accomplish? What sticks out to me? What makes the most sense as something that caught my attention, right? Because guess what? If something sticks out as catching your attention and being interesting in the story, it's going to do the same for others. So you really want to think, okay, what was it that stuck out to me? What made me feel a connection to this story? And now how can I spin that to get my reader engaged? Now, once you've got that hook and you've really piqued their interest, then you start talking about the context, right? And of course, that context should always be framed through the lens of whatever it is you're arguing. Don't give the reader a plot summary right at the beginning, right? Don't run through the entire plot. Oh, this person did this, and then they did this, and they did it because this, and this, and this. That doesn't matter. What matters is, what are the pieces of evidence you're going to be using later? What do we need to understand about that evidence, right? What helps paint the bigger picture for these specific points right away? Okay, and that's the thing that you really want to keep track of and that you really want to share with your reader. Because guess what? If it's not relevant to what you're trying to argue, why are you going to put it in there? Does it fill up space? Yes. Is it constructively filling up space? No. So you want to make sure that every single thing that you put in your essay, whether it's in your introduction, your body, or your conclusion, is related to framing that particular thought. Because if it's not related, it's not necessary. And I don't mean to say that parts of any story or poem are just filler, right? That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is parts of the story or work of literature that you're using might be used as filler in your essay if it's not relevant to what you're arguing. Okay, so it's really important as you're writing your introduction to fully understand what it is you're trying to talk about and develop it from there, right? Think through the lens of your thesis statement and the ideas that you'll present in your body paragraphs and see how that relates to the big picture. What can you share so that the reader can understand everything you're talking about? Now, the thesis, something, like I said before, that you should have down before you even start writing your intro. Because guess what? That's what you're arguing. That's what's going to govern what you put in your introduction. All right, so that's kind of the big thing. Now, I will tell you something about me. I struggle to write introductions all the time. I tend to now, after 7 years of college, I finally figured it out. I tend to write a dummy introduction, right? I use my introductory paragraph as a brainstorming tool that comes to my thesis statement, which is solid, right? I know what that is before I start writing this like dummy brainstormy intro. Now you might say, why would you waste the space doing that? Well, it's just like a gear up for my brain, right? Personally. So once I write the dummy intro, then I write my body paragraphs and I start writing a conclusion. The first conclusion that I draft is always a stronger introduction than the dummy introduction that I wrote. Okay, so my first conclusion paragraph is always going to end up being my intro. And then I write another conclusion paragraph that mirrors the intro, right? Which is what you're supposed to do, reminds the reader what you're talking about, why this is relevant, why they should care, right? You always start off in the intro, why does my reader care about this? And then in the conclusion, again, this is why you care. And you just tell them that they care. And they will, okay? So I end up using my first conclusion paragraph as my intro, and then I just rewrite my conclusion. And for me, that makes a stronger intro. And the reason for that is I've now just gone through all of my reasons for believing what I said in my thesis statement. And right at the tip of my brain is all the most relevant information that I just wrote down. Okay, so that's just me. You don't have to follow that method. The only reason I share this with you is because I want you to know that brains don't always work in a linear fashion. Just because an intro comes first, and then your body paragraphs, and then your conclusion, that doesn't mean that you should just only ever write it that way. If you want to try my method, go right ahead. It may not work for you, okay? You might have a different method. So you want to be flexible. Don't keep thinking, I have to follow this particular plan, this particular style, because that's what is expected. There is no expectation except that you write an essay that your reader can clearly understand and can see your argument and can believe that argument. That's what you're looking to do. All right, so that's what I want to say about introductions. It's all about getting your reader interested, providing them with some relevant contextual information, and then building up into your thesis statement. All right, so if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. Reach out, send me an email, send me a text, call me, schedule a meeting, come to office hours, all of those things. All right, do whatever you need to do. Ask me questions. I'm here for you. All right, so have a great rest of your day, you guys, and I will see you soon. Bye.